Hey, everybody, we here. It's another big time matchup for Texas taking on Georgia at home. Hey, it's a night game in Austin. Hey, it's gonna be a packed out crowd. I'm telling you right now, Texas is riding high. You're coming off the Red River rivalry right now. Um, in that Red River rivalry, at the beginning, I think everybody saw it and everybody expected it. You had the rust that Quinn Ewers had to shake off early in that ball game, but after that, they kind of got rolling again. The biggest thing coming out of that game was you needed your running backs to get going a little bit more, and also trying to figure out it's Monday, so we don't know what's the extent of the Isaiah Bond injury also. But I still think they have enough on them. I think this is a game where Georgia's been looking real iffy. It just seems like on offense, they don't have the guys to get done what they've been able to do in the past. And it's like nobody's really stepping up to be that guy in the run game and in the passing game also. You can't get any of the receivers going the way that you would want them to this season. Carson Beck is doing what you can, but I think anybody, if you ask them, what would you rather have, Stetson Bennett back, or would you rather still roll with Carson Beck? And I think everybody will say, hey, bring Stetson back and get him rolling back in this offense because he knew what they were trying to do over there on offense. For me, hey, I'm gonna make it quick. I got Texas winning this one, and I don't think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be another ball game, kind of like what Bama did to Georgia in that first half of that ball game. But I think Texas will be able to finish it off the way that instead of Bama letting them come back in that game in the second half, I got Texas rolling in this one too. Probably one of the worst. I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to put a stamp on it. I'm going to put a stamp on it. This is probably one of the worst losses that we've seen Georgia take in a really long time. This is the loss total wise, point wise, that the Bama game should have been instead of letting them back in the second half. And I understand Kirby Smart's a second half type of team. They're the best second half adjustment team in the nation. I've been saying that for years. When it comes to going into halftime and coming out, they'll shut anything that's been going on down. But I just think Texas, to me, from the beginning of this season to even to now, has just looked clear and cut and above what everybody else has been in all of college football this season. So got Texas winning this one big over the Bulldogs. Georgia takes their second loss of the season, and what has been an exciting and all over the place college football season as it's been already. So I'll give it to y'all guys.
Yeah, man, this one right here has all the capabilities of being a true primetime matchup when it comes to Georgia and Texas. And I think we're poised to see it happen. I just don't give Texas the same respect you're giving them in this game right here when it comes to Georgia. Now, when I really think about Georgia in this aspect versus Texas, I think Georgia still to me is the major dog in this fight. I want to pick Georgia so bad in this game if it was not in Texas. Not trying to give a glimpse of what I'm going to predict. But Georgia, to me, has all the capabilities of winning this game just because they're poised for big time SEC games. And I think that's one thing that Kirby Smart can produce in this game is the momentum and the courage to have this team ready to just go out there and run through a wall versus Texas, which the way Texas is right now, I don't know if we've seen them struggle against a team yet this season. Now, if they do, I don't know how it's going to look with them struggling. Even in the Oklahoma game, early in that game, I was like, okay, cool. If Quinn Ewers never turned it on, how much longer are they going to give him the reins before they put Arch in there at some point? And I don't think even through that whole game, he kind of got all the jitters out. I think they found a run game versus Oklahoma that just was overall too dominant. Now, if you could run the ball like you did against Oklahoma versus Georgia, you're gonna walk away with this game pretty easily. I just think that's something that Georgia as a team, which Bama was able to succeed in, and just dominantly getting big chunk runs. And I'm like, okay, that's a demoralizing thing, which I think is almost more demoralizing than chunk pass plays. Because chunk pass plays, it could be one miscommunication, and we got a big play down the field. Running the ball down your throat, that's a lot of looking in the mirror type stuff that a lot of teams aren't ready to do just yet. And I think Georgia's not ready to do that if Texas can run the ball on them. So, honing in on what's really important for this game, Texas cannot start slow at all. If they want to win this game, I think they have to do it from the start to the finish on just snatching Georgia's soul and not giving them the momentum to think they can win this game. Because if Georgia gets momentum to think they can beat Texas, I think they will beat Texas. And I think this Texas team, at the point that they were maybe 3 weeks ago when Quinn Ewers was not hurt, is not as strong all around as they are right now. I mean, as they are right now. In the aspects of what I'm saying is they're not that strong of a team right now to where they're just ungodly talented. So Georgia has all the capabilities of making big time plays and big time moments and turning momentum around in this game. And Carson Beck, granted, he's not Stetson Bennett, but I don't think he has to be in this type of game. I think if you can just nick enough chinks on that armor, Texas will fall by the end of the game and just stay close to the point where you can make a fourth quarter run like you did against Bama. And I think you can pull this game out in big time fashion. So, in all, I think Texas is the better team and they should win this game. All the metrics, all the people throughout the week are going to say Texas should win this game. But to me, something about Georgia just gives them the notch in this game. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just composure, being in this position before, poise in the aspect. You got a quarterback who's been in big time moments and big time in games. And it's honestly shown that he can win them. To be honest with you, 1 or 2 games here and there, he will be a different type of look in the aspect of what type of Georgia quarterback he would be. I don't think that this game is going to be something that he's going to be incapable of winning. So I think he puts up a big time performance. I think Georgia offense put up an efficient game, and I think their defense gives them enough to just last long enough to be able to make a splash. So I got Georgia winning by a late touchdown to give like a 31-24 type win in this game right here. But I think it's gonna come down to, last 3 minutes getting that touchdown, and maybe not just having enough time on the clock. Maybe because of game management, things like that, Texas doesn't have enough timeouts. It's going to be some key factor that Texas is not going to be able to overcome late in the game, and where they're going to fall short in this game right here. But for Kirby Smart, this is so important as a head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs for you and your organization. Because if you lose this game, you are, granted for what Bama looks like right now, you are not going to be considered the top dog in the SEC no more if you lose this game right here. Not even thinking about what the next couple weeks can be like against Tennessee. So, big time game against Georgia. Keep it focused on this week and this week only. And I think you can get past Texas, and what it's going to be a huge game down in Austin in a night game for their first night SEC really big time matchup. And I think it's just going to be a little too much for Texas to be able to grasp. So I got Georgia winning by a late touchdown.
Yo, listen, y'all, I am right with you. I got Georgia winning this game, and we'll go ahead and lead with this. My analysis is Kirby Smart's been there, right? This is the kind of game. I think Texas is more talented. I think Texas is at home. I think Texas has every reason in the world to win this football game, but they're not. It's not going to happen this weekend. You look at what's going on in the SEC right now. Texas is not void of the opportunity of losing a game. Everybody else has. You have not. This is your time. It's going to happen. Sark, as good of a coach as he is, or we claim him to be, the talent that he has amassed at Texas, the momentum that he's amassed at Texas is all great. In my mind, Georgia is still the team to beat. If you want to climb the mountain in the Southeastern Conference, you got to get by Georgia. Okay? You got to get by Georgia. Now, the good news is you got them coming to your house at night. Okay? The bad news is you ain't played a team like Georgia yet all season. You have not. And what you're going to get from Georgia and Kirby Smart is exactly the opposite of what's going on in Tuscaloosa right now. You're going to get discipline. You're going to get solid quarterback play. You're going to get a defense that's not out of position. If you happen to start slow, like you tend to do. Now, listen, Georgia starts slow too. I'm not going to give Georgia a pass on starting slow because they start slow, but I do not expect Georgia to start slow this weekend because of what's on the table. Okay? You're going to get Georgia's best on Saturday night. And I think Texas is smelling themselves. You know, you won the Red River rivalry like you should have, right? You're 6-0. You're big man on campus, #1 team in the country. I don't know how y'all really take that, because last year when you was in the Big 12, you know, maybe y'all made the #1, but you didn't have to play Georgia last year. You didn't have to play Tennessee. You didn't have to play, you know what I'm saying? Where's Sark's mentality here? Sark, what are you telling your players about what's going to happen in your building on Saturday night? Georgia's coming to town. Okay? Georgia has a lot of reasons, multiple reasons, many reasons to motivate themselves to completely beat your ass at home. Plenty of reasons. Georgia is not void of reasons to beat your ass. Okay. Now, I will give Texas the edge in talent across the board all the way. I wasn't impressed with Quinn Ewers last week. It ain't finna get no easier this week. Georgia is the toughest challenge you're gonna have. The only benefit you got is that you are at home. That's it. That's the only benefit you got. Georgia is a wounded duck trying to cement themselves back into not playoff contention. I don't think Georgia worried about the playoff. Georgia gonna be in the playoff. Kirby Smart is more or less like, hey, we need to cement ourselves back as the #1 team in the country. And this is how we do it, and this is where we do it. And don't you think for one doggone minute that in Athens, Georgia, right now, these boys ain't ready to hunt like some bulldogs, right? They gonna walk their behinds into Austin Saturday night, and they are not going back down. We're gonna see what Texas is made of Saturday, right? We ain't seen what Texas. I ain't knocking them. I like them, but this is your first. I don't know if y'all done had a team like Georgia come to your house since Bama did 3 years ago, right? This is your actual baptism into the SEC. If you win the game, I'm going to give it to you. I just don't think you're going to be able to do it. And I think Georgia actually steps on your behind early and never lets up. I think we see second half Georgia against Alabama all night in Austin. All night in Austin. I don't think Texas has an answer for anything that Georgia brings to the table. And it's going to mostly be physicality and coaching. Physicality and coaching. Georgia wins this game by more than 10 points on the road, resubmits themselves as the #1 team in the country, and Texas takes the back seat, which actually helps Texas in the long run. This Georgia-Texas game, we're going to see it again. We're going to see it again. But this weekend, Georgia comes into Texas and shoots a cag up on the Steve Sarkisian and makes them rethink what it is that they doing, which is, again, nothing but a microcosm of what we're seeing in the Southeastern Conference right now. No team is able to just become the most dominant team in the conference. This is not the year for that. Anybody can get beat on any day, any night, and I'm sorry, Texas, it's not going to happen this weekend. Georgia comes in and actually thumps your ass on Saturday night.
Yeah. And I think a couple major points on this right here, though, Sean. Looking at Georgia as a team, I think Kirby Smart knew his biggest test this year was going to be going to Bama. Not the aspect of that Nick Saban's going, it's a new regime. It's that pressure of, I feel like we got to win this one because of who we are. Now that we lost that game really by 2 major plays, now we understand that, okay, cool, we got that one out the way. There's no other team this year that we feel like we truly got to beat. hands down gotta win for the sake of us as an organization. Texas is not that team. Bama is, because Kirby Smart has a Bama issue. And I think the reason why Bama won that game is because what happened was Georgia faced a player on the other side of the ball they just do not have an answer for. In Jalen Milroe. Name a guy in the comment section on Texas who Georgia is truly fearing on the other sideline and saying, okay, we got to have an answer for this guy for 4 quarters. I don't think Georgia has that problem. Even Quinn Ewers, a first overall draft pick, that I think a first round draft pick, I think is going to happen in this next April. I don't think that they're fear of that guy right now. Even Arch Manning, if he came off the bench, I don't think they feared Arch Manning coming off the bench. So I think that right there provides so much confidence for Georgia and really just saying we just got to go ahead and execute on a game plan and be dominant up front in the trenches. So to me, I think that is something that Texas feels more of. We got to beat Georgia to prove to everybody that we are who we think we are, that we are this top team. We could have proved it last year by winning the national championship, but we fell short against Washington. I don't think that in 10 more years that's going to happen again. But to me, Texas, this is your moment. Now, the question is, can you conquer the moment? And I just don't think, I think with the rough patches that this season had with the injury to Quinn Ewers and injuries against some other big-time players, that this team is a lot weaker than where they was preseason, first 2 weeks of the season. So to me, I don't think that Texas is unbeatable, like you said, Sean. And to back up your points, I think it's way more on Texas pressurized, saying we got to win this game, than Georgia, which just falls everything in Georgia's lap in aspects of it. And to me, I think Kirby Smart would much rather go up against a pocket quarterback than a mobile quarterback when it comes to this defense that he has this year forward. And I think, to me, that's what's going to be the game changer for Georgia. So I think that we're on the same page. Van, if you right on this one, we're going to have to give you some props on your back on this one right there, just because I think Texas is a great team. I think they're a top 5 team this year. But when it comes to these head-to-head national championship playoff caliber matchups, I just haven't seen Texas get over that hump yet. And Georgia, to me, is not anybody to second guess in that atmosphere.
No, and look, and Drew, and to your point, what you just said was so pointed. Let's go back to Nick Saban. The apple don't fall far from the tree. Kirby Smart is a Nick Saban disciple. Nick Saban would have loved, he would have much rather deal with a quarterback that sits in that dadgum pocket. You could affect him a whole lot more than you could affect somebody that moves, right? Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning, yeah, I know they talk about they can move, they got legs, whatever, but that's not the way their offense is designed. That's not the fabric of what they do. They sit in the pocket and deliver balls. Kirby Smart is going, look, Georgia coming. And if Texas wins this game this weekend, I'll go ahead and submit them in my mind as #1 team in the country, because you'd have done it. You done beat what I would consider to be one of the best teams in the country, and I'll go and give it to you. I just don't see it happening. Kirby Smart is too good of a head coach. Coach to coach, I got Smart, right? I got Kirby Smart. You talk about coaching staffs, Texas, Georgia. I'm going with Kirby all day long. You're right. What you can't game plan against is a quarterback that can make off-script plays like Milroe did, right? But now you're talking about Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. Man, you got quarterbacks that sit in the pocket. Man, Kirby Smart going to tee off on their ass.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He going to tee off on them. Or at least he going to affect them and make them make mistakes. They're not perfect against lesser opponents. Texas is not. They ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? So come on now. You got Georgia coming in town, man. Come on, them dogs for the whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's go get it, Georgia.
Hey, I hear you. Hey, we're going to find out, and we'll give that review next week. But until then, we'll catch y'all next time.